What happens when one of Britain's most respected actors walks onto a daytime talk show expecting a harmless chat about his latest project, only to be blindsided by a host with a very different plan? In the span of just 34 seconds, a seemingly innocent question about his northern roots detonated into one of the most jaw-dropping confrontations daytime television has ever seen, peeling back the polished facade of celebrity interviews and leaving viewers frozen in disbelief. Sean Bean sank into the bright orange sofa on the Loose Women set, his easy posture suggesting he anticipated nothing more than the usual promo tour pleasantries. The audience applauded warmly as he traded small talk with the panel. Denise Welch sat at the center, flanked by Nadia Sawalha, Kay Adams, and Jane Moore. The lights were hot, the cameras humming. Everything textbook daytime TV. Then Denise leaned forward with a smile that didn't quite touch her eyes. "Sean, lovely to have you. Now, before we get into your new series, I have to ask. You're from Sheffield. Working class background. Born and bred. Do you ever feel like you've betrayed that by playing all these posh characters and living in that fancy house of yours?" The room fell still. Sean's smile flickered just for a heartbeat. The question arrived wrapped in sugar, but the accusation underneath was unmistakable. "I wouldn't say betrayed." "No," Sean replied carefully, his Yorkshire accent still unmistakable even after decades on screen. "I'm an actor. I play characters. That's the job. I'm still the same person I've always been." Nadia shifted, uncomfortable. Jane stared down at her notes. But Denise wasn't done. Double quotes, yes, but there is something a bit strange, isn't there? Someone from your background swanning around in period dramas pretending to be aristocracy. Don't working-class actors have a responsibility to stay true to their roots to represent real people? A ripple of gasps moved through the audience. Kay Adams jumped in, trying to diffuse. "Well, Sean's played plenty of working-class roles. Haven't you, Sean?" "I have," he said, jaw tightening. "Soldiers, miners, factory workers. I've done Shakespeare. I've done kitchen sink drama. Acting isn't about playing yourself over and over." Denise waved him off. "But come on. You live in a mansion now. You send your kids to private school. You're hardly one of the people anymore, are you? You've become exactly what you used to hate." The studio froze. Nadia's eyes widened. Jane finally looked up, shocked. Even the camera operator seemed to pause. Sean inhaled slowly. "I don't know what you're implying, Denise. I started with nothing. I worked hard for everything I have. And I've never forgotten where I came from. Haven't you, though?" Denise pressed, leaning in like a prosecutor sensing weakness. "From where I'm sitting, you look just like every other celeb who forgets their roots the moment money comes in. You talk different. Act different. It's embarrassing. Just admit you're a sellout." The word hit the set like a dropped bomb. Kay tried again. "Denise, that's a bit harsh. I'm saying what everyone's thinking," she snapped. "These working-class actors get rich, and suddenly they're too good for their own people." Nadia finally stepped in. "That's unfair. Success doesn't erase your background," but Denise bulldozed right over her. "Sean, when was the last time you actually went back to Sheffield? I mean properly. Not a photo op. Real time with real working-class people." Sean's face hardened. His hands clutched the sofa arms. "I visit Sheffield regularly. Not that I need to justify my personal life to you. See?" Denise shot back. "That attitude right there? Defensive? That says everything." "You're not asking questions," Sean said, voice low and steady, now a warning more than a response. "You're making accusations." Jane tried to steer things back on track. "Maybe we should talk about the new series," but Denise talked right over her again. "I'm making observations. Sean, observations a lot of people share. You've changed. You left your people behind. And now you come on shows like this pretending to be humble while flogging your latest project to the same working-class audience you've abandoned. The audience erupted gasps. Murmurs disbelief. Kay raised a hand as if physically trying to block the next blow. Nadia stared at the table, mortified. Sean's face flushed. Anger finally breaking through. That is completely out of order. You don't know me. You don't know my life. You invited me here to talk about my work. And instead, you're sitting there insulting me based on your own assumptions, your prejudices. Prejudices. Denise shot back, eyes narrowing. Denise let out a laugh, short, sharp, and bitter. Oh, that's rich. I'm prejudiced now. Because I'm calling out your hypocrisy. You're being incredibly rude, Sean shot back, his voice rising for the first time. I came here in good faith. I've done nothing to deserve this. Nadia stepped in again, her voice tight. Denise, maybe we should move on. This is getting uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. Denise turned on her, incredulous. Why? Because someone's finally saying the truth out loud. Because I'm not fawning over him like everyone else? Because you're being needlessly cruel, Nadia said, surprising everyone with her bluntness. Sean's a guest. You're treating him like he's on trial. Denise swung back toward Sean. If you can't handle tough questions, maybe you shouldn't come on talk shows. This is what we do here. Real conversations. Not endless celebrity worship. Tough questions. Sean's disbelief was palpable. You called me a sellout. Accused me of betraying my background, abandoning working-class people, questioned my entire character. That's not tough questions, that's character assassination. Kay nodded, finally stepping in. He's right, Denise. This has gone too far. But Denise was already in full attack mode, voice rising, eyes glittering. Oh, so now I'm the villain, for speaking truth to power. For refusing to treat actors like gods who can never be criticized. There's criticism, Sean said, leaning forward, agitation radiating off him. And then there's this. You've built a narrative about me that doesn't exist. You've decided who I am without knowing anything at all. I know enough, Denise replied smugly. I know you've made millions playing heroes while real working-class people struggle. I know you live in luxury while pretending in interviews to be one of us. I know you're a hypocrite. That did it. Sean rose to his feet, anger rolling off him in waves. Right, that's enough. I'm not sitting here for this. The studio went dead quiet. Even Denise blinked, thrown for a split second. Jane's mouth fell open. Nadia looked back and forth between them, panicked. Oh, so you're leaving? Denise said, recovering instantly, her tone dripping with mockery. Can't handle the heat, so you're walking out. Very mature, Sean. Very professional. Professional. Sean's voice boomed across the set. A professional interviewer doesn't ambush their guests. A professional doesn't spend the entire segment insulting them. You've been disrespectful since the moment I sat down, and I'm not staying for this. Kay stood quickly. Sean, please sit down. We can fix this. But Sean was already unclipping his microphone. There's nothing to fix. She's made her feelings perfectly clear. And I'm not here to be her punching bag. Denise laughed again, that same cutting, joyless sound. This is brilliant. Walking off because you can't answer a few simple questions about your privilege. The audience can see right through you. The audience can see right through you, Sean snapped, pointing directly at her. They can see you're a bully who gets her kicks tearing people down on live television. You're not some champion of the working class. You're just mean. Nadia stood too, eyes bright. Sean, I'm so sorry. This shouldn't have happened. It's not your fault, he said gently, his tone softening for her alone. Then he turned back to Denise, expression hardening. You should be ashamed of yourself. This isn't journalism. This isn't even entertainment. This is cruelty, plain and simple. Denise rose as well, facing him across the low table like a duelist. Don't you dare lecture me about cruelty. I'm holding people like you, accountable people who profit off a working-class image while living like royalty. People like me. Sean's voice dropped to a dangerous, icy quiet. You don't know a thing about people like me. You sit here in your studio, passing judgment, stirring up drama for ratings. That's not accountability. That's spite. You're being nasty because you think it makes good TV. Jane finally got to her feet. Enough. Both of you, please. Let's calm down. I am calm, Sean said, though his trembling hands betrayed him. I'm calmly leaving. Because I refuse to be treated like this? Fine. Go, Denise said, folding her arms. Run away. That's what people like you do when things get difficult. You run back to your mansions and your privilege. Sean shook his head, disgust etched across his face. You're unbelievable. You really think you're the hero here, don't you? You think the viewers are siding with you? I think the viewers appreciate honesty, Denise sneered. Something you clearly can't handle. Honesty. Sean barked out a disbelieving laugh. You wouldn't know honesty if it slapped you in the face. You've built this entire fantasy about who I am based purely on your own bitterness. That's not honesty. That's delusion. The other panelists looked stricken. Kay had her head in her hands. Nadia's eyes shimmered with tears. Jane Moore stood frozen, her eyes darting helplessly between them. Clearly out of ways to intervene, Denise's expression twisted into something bitter. I'm not the one storming off because I can't handle a conversation. This isn't a conversation, Sean said, his voice echoing through the studio. A conversation requires two people actually listening. You haven't listened to a single thing I've said. You came in with an agenda before I even walked in. My agenda is calling out hypocrisy, Denise shot back. If that makes you uncomfortable, that's your problem. Sean grabbed his jacket from the sofa. You know what actually makes me uncomfortable? That people like you have platforms to spread this toxicity. That you think attacking someone on live TV makes you brave. I'm not attacking you, Denise insisted, though her stance, her tone, her clenched jaw said otherwise. I'm asking difficult questions no one else has the guts to ask. You're hiding behind that excuse, Sean replied, slipping on his jacket. Pretending you're some fearless truth-teller, when really you're just being cruel for the sake of it. Nadia stepped forward, voice soft and trembling. Sean, on behalf of all of us, I'm so sorry. This is not how we treat guests. Thank you, Nadia, he said, his anger softening when he looked at her. You've been kind from the start, but I'm not staying. I'm not giving her the satisfaction of dragging this circus out. Circus. Denise scoffed. You're the one making a scene. I'm making a scene. Sean's laugh was incredulous. You've spent 20 minutes insulting me, calling me a hypocrite, sellout, questioning my character, and I'm the problem because I won't sit here and take it. You're making a scene because you're a diva who can't handle criticism. Denise said, her voice dripping poison. There's criticism, Sean said evenly, and then there's whatever this is. What you're doing is personal. What you're doing is nasty. And it says a hell of a lot more about you than it does about me. Kay tried one last time. Please, both of you take a breath. We can end this civilly. She doesn't want civil, Sean said, gesturing at Denise. She wants drama. She wants conflict. And congratulations, she got exactly what she wanted. She pushed until I hit my limit. Are you happy now? I'm happy people are seeing the real you, Denise said smugly. The you who can't handle being challenged. The you who throws tantrums when he doesn't get his way. Challenged. Sean barked a bitter laugh. This isn't a challenge. This is bullying. This is unprofessional. This is disgraceful. Jane stepped between them at last. Sean, if you want to leave, that's your right. But maybe we can at least end on something positive. Sean glanced at Jane, then at Nadia and Kaboth, looking mortified before turning back to Denise, who stood arms crossed, face hard, defiantly unmoved. There's nothing positive here, Sean said quietly. She made sure of that. She decided who I was before I even sat down. Nothing I said mattered. So yes, I'm leaving. Because I respect myself too much to stay. Such a victim, Denise muttered, just loud enough for the microphones to catch. Sean stopped mid-step. Slowly, he turned back. A victim. His voice was low, dangerous. You think standing up for myself makes me a victim? You think refusing to be disrespected makes me weak? I think walking off makes you look guilty, Denise said coldly. If you had nothing to hide, you'd stay and defend yourself. I have been defending myself, Sean said, his voice rising again. For 20 minutes, I've been defending myself against your relentless attacks, but you're not here for the truth. You're here for your narrative, and nothing I could say would ever change it. Nadia moved closer, trying to reach him. Please ignore her. She just wants a reaction. Oh, she's got a reaction, Sean said, but his voice was calmer now, steadier. The reaction of a man who's had enough. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of walking away from someone who's treating me like garbage. How noble, Denise mocked. The brave actor fleeing the mean talk show host. You'll dine out on this story for years. I won't mention this at all, Sean said. Because giving you more attention would be more than you deserve. You're not worth my energy, Denise. You're not worth anyone's energy. There it is, Denise said triumphantly. The real Sean Benargan, superior, looking down on the rest of us. Looking down. Sean's voice dropped into something soft and deadly. I'm not the one who spent this entire interview trying to make someone else feel small. I'm not the one using my platform to bully a guest. That's you, Denise. That's all you. Kay placed a hand on Denise's arm, trying to pull her back. Denise, please. Let him go. This has gone far enough, Kay Adams said, her patience finally snapping. But Denise yanked her arm away. He can go. He can run back to his mansion and his privilege. But the viewers will remember this. They'll remember how you treated a guest, Sean corrected, turning back to her. They'll remember your cruelty, your arrogance, your complete lack of respect for another human being. The audience was silent, eyes flicking between them like they were watching a slow-motion car crash. He looked out toward them. I'm sorry you had to sit through this. You came for a pleasant afternoon show, and instead, you got this. That's not on me, but I'm still sorry. A few people nodded. A couple even clapped before immediately stopping, unsure of the moment. Sean gave a grateful, weary half-smile. Then looked to the remaining panelists. Nadia, Kay. Jane, thank you for trying, truly. But some things can't be fixed. Atis started toward the exit. That's right. Walk away, Denise called after him, venom curling around her words. Just like you walked away from your roots. Sean stopped. The studio went dead still. Even the camera operators froze. For a second, it seemed like he might turn back. Unleash everything building inside him. The camera zoomed in on the tight set of his shoulders. Waiting, but he never turned. He just lifted a hand, dismissive, almost bored, and kept moving. Unbelievable, Denise muttered, pivoting to the cameras like nothing seismic had just happened. Absolutely unbelievable. Well, there you have it, everyone. Sean Bean, ladies and gentlemen, can't handle the truth. Nadia spun toward her. Denise, what were you thinking? That was horrible. I was thinking someone had to hold him accountable. Denise snapped. Accountable for what? Kay demanded. For being successful. For working hard. What exactly did he do wrong? He's a hypocrite, Denise said. But even she sounded like she wasn't convinced anymore. He's a human being, Jane said quietly. A human being you just humiliated on live television. A murmur rippled through the audience. Agreement, disapproval, disbelief. Denise scanned their faces for the first time, realizing she had misread the room. Oh, come on, she said, forcing a laugh. Don't tell me you're all buying his wounded act. It wasn't an act, Nadia said. You were cruel, Denise. Deliberately, needlessly cruel. I was doing my job. Your job, Kay said, is to interview guests. Not ambush them. Not insult them. Not chase them off the set. Denise straightened, trying to reclaim control. Well, this has certainly been dramatic. She faced the camera. We'll take a quick break and be back with more Loose Women after this. But the damage was done. When the cameras cut, the studio didn't bounce back. It stayed heavy and stunned. Audience members whispered among themselves, heads shaking, eyes wide. None of the panelists looked at Denise. Not one. Backstage, Sean removed the last of his microphone gear as a few crew members approached. You okay? One asked gently. I've been better, Sean admitted. But I'm fine. I'm glad I walked when I did. Another minute and I might have said something I'd regret. For what it's worth, a sound tech said, we all thought she was completely out of line. That was painful to watch. Sean nodded, appreciative, but drained. Through the walls, he could still hear the muffled voices of the panel, Denise talking too fast, trying to patch the sinking ship with forced cheerfulness. But the moment couldn't be undone. Viewers would rewind. Clips would go viral. Analysts would take sides. And no matter what Denise tried to claim, everyone would see what really happened. A respected actor pushed beyond his limits by a host who confused cruelty with courage, who mistook aggression for honesty. Sean took a long breath, straightened his jacket, and headed toward the studio doors. He'd come here to talk about his work, to meet the audience, to do the polite promotional rounds that every actor endures. Instead, he'd been dragged into a public interrogation born of nothing but assumptions and spite. He pushed open the exit. The cool London air spilled and died behind him. He could still hear Denise's voice. Defensive and shrill, trying desperately to spin the narrative, trying to make herself the brave truth-teller standing up to celebrity privilege. But Sean knew better. And he hoped, suspected the viewers did too. Because what happened on that stage wasn't bravery. It wasn't truth. It wasn't accountability. It was just one person deciding they had the right to tear someone else down and enjoying it. It was the ugliest version of talk show. Television, where conflict replaces conversation. And humiliation is treated as entertainment. Sean stepped outside into the London afternoon and let the door close behind him with a soft, final click, the end of one of the most uncomfortable interviews in British TV history. An interview that had started with a simple question about his background and spiraled into a confrontation none of them, not the studio audience, not the viewers, and certainly not Sean, would soon forget. At